It's 10 years since Anthony Mundine stepped into the ring for his professional debut. And still, he's the king of Australian boxing. Blessed with natural athletic brilliance, he left rugby league in his prime to chase a dream. Just 3 years and 2 months later, he became the WBA super middleweight champion of the world.
He's most probably the fastest fighter I've ever seen in my life.
Look, Anthony Mundine is one of the greatest athletes we've ever produced.
Anthony Mundine's a freak.
I told my dad that I want to box. He said, listen man, boxing's dead in this country. I said, what? Well, if it's dead, I want to give it mouth to mouth.
The man, the moment, unbelievable event. That's what kick-started Australian boxing again.
He's got more personality, more charisma, more newsworthiness in him than anyone I've ever dealt with.
I'm like his #1 supporter. I just love to go in and support him, and I'm really proud of my dad.
I'll start crying if I start talking about him.
Well, people are moving at the same speed and you can all of a sudden change it up pretty quickly. Then it makes you dangerous.
I love his right hand when he shoots it down the middle.
He's become this country's most controversial and talked about athlete. Anthony Mundine calls himself the man. Tonight, we find out why. We relive his biggest fights and hear the stories behind the hardest hits. Tonight, the gloves come off.
I was born to entertain. I was born to entertain.
Like him or loathe him, Anthony Mundine is one extraordinary athlete. He has reached the pinnacle in two of world sport's toughest pursuits. His father, Tony, a celebrated Australian boxing champion, always knew his son had impressive athletic ability.
He can be any, whatever you put him on to do, He's a great sport, and he's a good runner, he's a good footballer and also a basketball player.
He always had the ability, whatever he did, whether it was swimming, tennis, he was good at it, so it didn't surprise me he's going to be a 3 times world champion. No.
I suppose I was fortunate to know Anthony when he was just a babe. He doesn't do much wrong, he gives himself every chance of success. I've watched him grow to where he is today.
In his early 20s, Anthony Mundine's speed and athleticism set Australian Rugby League alight. Brad Fittler played 5'8" against Mundine when he burst onto the scene.
As a footballer, he was ultra talented. He just could provide anything.
And it's a try! It's a try for Mundine!
His part in the team was always that nth degree. If the ball dropped, he'd be able to pick it up and do something with it straight away. And you can't train or practice against that. So he was just a dangerous player.
He played in 3 grand finals, won premiership and state of origin. He had the game at his feet with record contracts on offer.
My main goal was to represent my country. That's all I wanted to do in rugby league. I was a standout by far as being the 5'8".
I think when they were picking Australian sides back then, they always kept the same Australian teams. They only allowed certain people through, and at the time, they weren't looking at Anthony.
That really put a dagger in my heart, man. Really just hurt me. Hurt me deep.
He was definitely good enough to play in the Australian team, no doubt in the world.
Anthony Mundine, welcome.
Thanks a lot, John.
Good to see you.
It's good to be here, man.
Are you really the greatest 5'8" in the world?
Yeah, I really feel that I am. I mean, I feel that I was, you know, racially vilified against as far as the system and the New South Wales and Australian team. So, I mean, I felt like an outsider, and I felt that my time has come. You know what I mean?
In May of 2000, mid-season, playing with St George Illawarra, he left the country.
Had a thought in my mind that, let me just get away. I need to get away. I was so angry, I was so frustrated, and you know, I had all these emotions running around in my head. So I didn't tell nobody. I didn't tell, not even my family.
He returned to a media circus. Then days later, he shocked Australian sport.
From today onwards, we're no longer being a part of rugby league. I've retired. You know, I think I told my dad the day before, or when I got in back from America, I said I want to box, you know. And he told me, listen, man, boxing's dead in this country.
If he was going to make the move, he had to move it very, very quickly, and that's what he did.
I said, what? Well, if it's dead, I'm going to give it mouth to mouth. You know, I'm going to bring it back to life.
At 24, Anthony Mundine says he has accomplished all he can in rugby league. But his mid-season, mid-career walkout has him at sports crossroads. In some way, Mundine will keep fighting for his cause, starting with a super middleweight bout in a couple of months, as he follows in his famous father's footsteps.
I've always had the desire and the ambition to be the world champion and to be a boxer.
Well, I thought he's going to be lost to the game for a season, and common sense will prevail and he'll be back. That's what I thought.
Six weeks later, it was no joke. The moment had arrived. Billy Hussein, seen in the Australian Contender Series, is one of the country's most successful trainers. He's worked the corner for over 25 world title fights.
The best thing ever happened to boxing in Australia is when Anthony came to boxing. Anthony himself, coming from a rugby league background, brought in crossover crowds, which we needed in boxing.
Everyone wanted to see what this fella, Anthony Mundine, was about.
The day Anthony said he's going to come into boxing, the look of boxing changed.
The debutante arrived in style. 8,000 people filled the Sydney Entertainment Centre, just like a Vegas title fight. The ringside seats were filled with sports stars, celebrities and business leaders. But this was no title bout, but a fight debut. This was showbiz like Australian boxing had never seen before. Radio announcer Alan Jones was there.
So these people were piling in, and there were people everywhere. Oh yes, we got all sorts of Aboriginal girls to sing the national anthem. The entertainment was fantastic. I mean, people had a genuinely good night.
The first opponent was Jared Zoss, a New Zealander with a record of 21 professional fights. Mundine kept him in the ring for some time.
Where is he? We'll have another go. Professional boxing debut, the one and only Anthony the Man Mundine.
Finally, the wait was over and the man arrived with a bang. As the boxing cliche goes, his day with destiny had arrived, and Australia would now find out if Anthony Mundine was as good with his fists as he promised.
I set a precedent for myself, you know, just walking to the ring. I was just ready to fight, you know what I mean? I just wanted to chase my dream.
Sydney makes some noise!
It was a big step for Anthony. Like, I thought maybe we'll fight at St George Lee's Club, get a couple hundred people in there. This is where the mastermind of Coda Nasser virtually came to the front. He said, no, we want to fight at the Entertainment Centre.
His expectations? He looks superbly fit. Well, he went for a touch of gloves, and Zoss said, well, I'll try and sneak a little right.
Once settled into the first round, there appeared to be little nerves.
He's trying to hang on the uppercut from Mundine. Oops, hello, that's what
fight that he just handled so easily. In the corner, nothing flustered him.
Beautiful left hook,
He was calm, cool and collected.
Josh caught with the left hand.
He believed in himself, maybe a little bit too much.
He's actually starting to punch his way through the defence now of the New Zealander. Yeah, he's through him now. He's through him now.
Beautiful work there by Mundine. Accurate in every punch.
That's it. It's all over.
Made it look so easy, and that's from then on. Everyone knew this kid's got something, and let's wait and see what he's got.
I made my salary, the salary that I earned for St George at $600,000. I made that in my first fight. So man, it wasn't about the money. It was about my goal and my dream, and that was to be the champion of the world.
Following his successful debut in July of 2000, Anthony Mundine settled down the hard grind of dedicated training for his professional boxing career. He had 3 more fights in his first year, all impressive victories. In December, he accepted a call-out from former Australian boxing great Jeff Fenech.
I was on some show and they stormed in as I'm doing my interview. They can see that I'm getting a lot of attention, I'm getting a lot of interest. They wanted a piece too, they felt left out, especially Jeff Fenech. He wanted to be like the ruler of boxing.
The limelight straight away shone off the other fighters and came on to Anthony. Interviews, Fox Sports, all they want to do is do interviews with Anthony.
Well, I'll bet you 10 grand that Anthony Mundine will come out the winner. Bet so.
Fenech never, ever doubted Anthony as an athlete. He just thought, let's get him now.
The chosen opponent was Ian McLeod, who held a 23 pro fight record with 15 wins.
McLeod said he was world rated at the time. This is my 4th professional fight.
Down goes Ian McLeod.
From the outset, you just knew, I don't know how long it's going to be, but he's just going to win this easily, and he did.
And Anthony Mundine continues on his winning way.
2001 was an important year for the man. In February, in just his 5th fight, he stopped veteran Mark Bagheero to capture the Australian super middleweight title.
That's it. It's all over.
Well, a good stoppage there by Nick Tilly-Miles.
2001 was also the year when he proved he has much more than just a jab, unleashing some devastating knockouts.
When he faced Timo Masua, he displayed what kind of power he had, and he iced him. He put him to sleep, and that's when everyone thought, man, this kid's not going to only box, he can also hit.
Following an impressive year, in December came a battle that would come to mean so much. He travelled to Germany in an attempt to complete one of the sport's greatest achievements.
Anthony had no right whatsoever at that stage to put himself in with Sven Otke.
Anthony the Man Mundine.
No one gave him a chance.
Should Anthony Mundine not win here, there would be no reason for him to continue in Australia as a boxer.
What can you say about Sven Otke? Probably one of the greatest European fighters ever.
I suppose you'd have to be one of the greatest eminers that ever fought.
And we are underway for the IBF Super Middleweight Championship of the World.
Very much a protected species in Germany.
Big right hand from Anthony Mundine. It's going to be wrong here for holding and hitting it.
The hardest thing is to win in Germany. I think if you knock somebody out of Germany, you get a draw. So that's how hard it was.
Threatening Mundine with disqualification for use of the head.
If you look at that fight, the strange thing about it is
2-punch combination.
The fight was so close. Anthony had done extremely well, and the fight was very, very much level pegging.
Mundine can turn this around, and there he comes forward to right hand. We need more of that from him.
8th round, he battered Otke. He battered him. 8th round is so far in front, he had to knock him out to win the fight.
Mundine lands the overhand right. He backs up Otke. Otke's down here. Otke down in round number 8. Clubbing away at the champion. Otke's in trouble. Mundine coming forward. Otke's on unsteady legs here in round number 9.
He was cruising in that fight. He was having so much fun that it was, I mean, we lost a couple of rounds, but he was winning the round, and on our scorecards, he was winning the fight.
But I still feel that I was winning the fight till I got stopped in the 10th round.
To that, Sven Otke.
Right hand from Otke. Mundine is down here in round number 10. He's out. Anthony Mundine is called. He is out. It is all over. And Sven Otke has knocked Anthony Mundine
actually had missed a knockout because my daughter, Kelly, was sitting near me, and I bent down to get something out of my handbag, and all I could hear her saying was, "He's all right, Mum, he's all right." And when I looked, I could see him on the canvas, and I just I froze.
Choc was always looking for a rematch with Otke. Otke probably fought for 2 more years and retired undefeated, but he was never keen on a rematch, and I could understand why.
I go on the fight thinking I'm going to win every fight, but at the end of the day, after it was all said and done and what happened, I just feel that's God's will. You know, if God wills things like that, then you have to accept it.
2001 was also the year Anthony Mundine found himself at the centre of a media frenzy, sparked by his comments regarding the September 11 terrorist attacks on New York's World Trade Center.
The reason it was as big as it was is because the media wanted to twist and turn it to make out that I was the villain, I was the bad boy, I was the guy that was for the killings, I was for, you know, killing human life. No, which is not my belief. My belief is, you know, killing one innocent human being is like killing all of humanity.
I'm sure he didn't mean the innocent woman and children and the men that suffered in that cowardly act, but I think there's a large percent of people in pubs and clubs and all walks of life that were very, very filthy on the Bush regime at that time, and I think that it was more singled at him than the Americans got their right way. I don't think he meant that.
Some of the things that Choc says, I happen to agree with them, but if you're advising to say, Choc, that's not what the corporate sponsors want to hear, mate.
While Mundine's ruthless honesty upset many, his passion for the Muslim faith is unquestionable and a most important part of who he is today.
I had a lot of questions in my teenage years, early 20s, about Christianity that couldn't be answered, you know. So I felt that I needed to use my own faculties and to use my own reasonings to seek the truth and try and find the truth. What intrigues me about Islam is that it covers all facets of life. It's a way of life. It's a social system, it's an economic system, it's a moral system. Whatever facet you can think of, the Quran has an answer for.
We've supported Anthony way before he was a Muslim, but when he became a Muslim, we feel more attached to him now as well.
I ain't a perfect human being. None of us are. But my relationship is between me and God, individually. That's it. I don't need to answer to nobody but Allah, you know. That's it. You know what I mean? No one can tell me, no one can... I don't care what they write about me, I don't care what they talk about me. I answer to God, that's it. I answer to nobody else.
Following Anthony Mundine's failure to win the world title against Sven Otke, questions were raised as to how he would recover from such a devastating knockout. Rocked by loss, but by no means finished, Mundine went back to Australia and over the next 18 months recorded 8 wins, 6 of those by knockout. In September of 2003, just over 3 years after his professional debut, he was presented with another opportunity to fight for the WBA super middleweight title. Some critics question the opponents the man has beaten. The credentials of Antoine Eccles are difficult to ignore.
Antoine Eccles coming off, I think, 2 fights with Bernard, the executioner Hopkins. They were hell of a fights. Bernard Hopkins to this day says that Antoine Eccles was his toughest, roughest, toughest, hardest opponent to date.
I didn't know much until I watched the Bernard Hopkins fight. I knew that he was a ruthless fighter that just comes straight ahead with power punches. He had a bullet lodged in his arm or shoulder or something.
I don't know if anyone saw Eccles fight Hopkins. We all thought, well, geez, here he goes again.
Anthony the Man Mundine!
I trained so hard for that fight that I run myself down into the ground and I had to postpone the fight. I still wasn't 100%. The fight had to go on.
The time for talking is now over. The WBA Super Middleweight World Championship is about to be decided. We're underway.
I prepared for that fight immensely, you know, and I took a lot of poundage in the gym from big opponents.
Believe it, folks. Anthony Mundine has a fight on his hands here. Oh, yeah.
The kid comes to fight. He's rough. He hits low, hits behind the head, he throws you on the ground. And I thought that's the sort of fight Anthony didn't want nothing to do with and stay away from their opponent.
Heading up at the end of the third, and Mundine says, bring it on.
Again.
Good jab.
We're just wrong. He brought Antoine across to Australia. Boxed his ears off.
And now it's Mundine in the centre of the ring, becoming the aggressor.
I try to box and box like a fox, you know, staying close, but stay at a distance where I'm safe, but at a distance where I can attack.
And again. Away ahead, bud. Don't bring him into the fight.
If you look at that fight, he looked like a very, very ordinary opponent up against Choc. He just couldn't go with the speed.
That was a 4-punch combination then. Bang, 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 bang. Beautiful stuff.
This is the world title, you know, that I've always yearned for, and always said I would get.
They're going crazy.
I knew that if I got this one, they can never take that away from me. Even if I lost the next 5-10 fights, you know, and never fought again, they can never take that moment away.
Obviously, Anthony Mundine hasn't been reading the newspaper reports. He's supposed to be able to do 5 rounds.
I think that's probably the best Anthony's ever fought in his career and dominated every round. He made Antoine look second rate.
Mundine is sensing that his world title is here.
I said I was going to do it, and I did it, and that was a big monkey off my back. And
amazing scenes in the ring.
Being raised in the air that night, you know, it's like the emotion was just tremendous.
Believe it, folks, it's real. Anthony Mundine is champion of the world.
For me to see Tony and with our son, you know, being held up together like that, it was a beautiful feeling, and it was just beautiful to be a part of that.
With the first world title came respect. After being named the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islands Person of the Year in 2000, his world title just 3 years later elevated Mundine as a genuine leader of his people.
I was put here on this earth to do something. You know, whether it was to be a leader, whether it was to be a great fighter, you know, everyone's put on here to do something. You know, my purpose is to represent. But the way I represent is in the ring, and because I'm an Aboriginal boy, that's automatically aligns me to my people, so I've got to represent my people.
Another controversial moment came following his comments about fellow Aboriginal track star Kathy Freeman, questioning her as a leader of the community.
I just said that a woman can't lead, you know, which is my belief firmly still. I'm not just saying that we're better than them or I'm being sexist or whatnot, but, you know, there's certain roles in society for women and there's certain roles in society for men.
I think that Choc and Kathy are very, very close friends. I'll assure you that, you know, I don't think he meant it the way it went.
I hope Kathy understands. I mean, I called her and spoke to her briefly to see what she's doing now with the kids and with the communities. It's a blessing. Yeah, no, she's cool. She knows I respect her immensely, and I know that she respects me immensely.
His second defence of his world title was against well-credentialed Puerto Rican Manny Siaka. Siaka was hungry, having his fourth attempt to try and win the WBA super middleweight crown.
I took, you know, being at the top for granted. To be honest, I fought like a pussy that night.
The count put on Anthony Mundine at the end of the second round. He's hurt.
That should have been an easy fight for him. He didn't look like he was really up for it. I don't know why.
Mundine goes down again. Was it a push? It was.
Maybe he took Manny Siaka too lightly. and realised he was in for a fight after he got knocked out in the second round.
I don't think he did enough to take the title off me, but, you know, probably I did enough to lose it.
And the winner!
You prepare like a pussy, you're going to fight like a pussy, you know what I mean? And I've learned so much from that fight that there's not a fight now that I felt that I was like that.
Siaka later went on to lose the title by knockout to Danish dynamo Mikkel Kessler in his first defence. This set up a showdown with Anthony Mundine. The fight locked in for Sydney in June of 2005.
The biggest moment in his boxing career is right here.
At that time, Mikkel Kessler was the hottest thing on the boxing scene. Great jab, beautiful right hand, just big, strong guy. Ready to make some noise in the super middleweight divisions.
I fought super middleweight most of my career, right? I was nowhere near a super middleweight. I was fighting these guys, they're much bigger, they're much stronger, and, you know, a lot more experience than me.
Pulling out of the way of a potential Kessler thunderbolt.
Mundine standing right in front of his opponent. Who would have thought that?
I think this was the fight that I really feel that give Anthony a little bit of steely grip.
I think Chalk has never trained for a fight like he trained against Mikkel Kessler.
Anyone who questioned Mundine whether he had heart, have a look at that round.
He knew Mikkel Kessler was coming to fight, and he's tough, and he can punch.
I think that when Anthony would be back in the dressing room, or particularly the next day, watching that fight, he'd have to be dirty that he didn't jump on him a little bit earlier and virtually have more confidence in himself, because he showed late that he could have done it. He could have won that fight.
Big round here, number 8. Mundine on the defensive again is Kessler. With a couple of good knees. Mundine again says, bring it on, is that the best you've got? And then tries to shot the left jab.
People saw character that night. They saw something in me that they'd never seen before. Something that I reached down deep to get in order to bring the best out of me.
Gauging this round. And again.
I've never seen Chuck fight better in my life. He traded punches with a guy, with a bigger guy, a big super middleweight. He traded punches with him. He at times he outboxed boxed Kessler.
I knew I was up against it. He was undefeated at the time. He was mentally on top of his game, physically on top of his game. But like I said, I was proud of myself. Another 5-10% I could have been champion of the world again.
He went 12 rounds, and at the end of the 12, I'm sitting there at ringside doing the commentary, and I reckon he was fresher than Kessler. There were rounds that Chalk won, and all he really needed to do was lift maybe 10%, and he could have got over the line.
I think Mikkel Kessler's experience came through that night to beat Mundine, but it wasn't a bad loss. It was actually a good loss for Mundine, and you know, it's not a disgrace to lose to someone like a Mikkel Kessler, who's a 2-time or 3-time world champion.
The final seconds of a most worthy world title fight.
In 2006, Australian boxing fans were to be treated to the fight they had waited so long for. The rivalry between West Australian Danny Green and Anthony Mundine had been simmering for some time. The battle was more than just a boxing match, but a chance to lay claim to be the country's finest fighter. Finally, contracts were signed, and on May 17, at the Sydney Football Stadium, they would contest a WBA super middleweight title eliminator.
He reckons I caught him a bump.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, after 6 long years...
You know, I wouldn't step out of my way to put a young boy down if he didn't say something to me first. So I don't know what, he must have said something for me to go off. You know what I mean? So I just went from there.
Anthony, the man, Mundine!
Years ago, ago, you had rivalry with blokes like George Barnes and Darby Brown and Lionel Rose and Rocky Gadolari, and they steer them into collision course where it's going to happen. The Denny Green Mundine fight was headed that way.
We thought that fight was never going to happen, never ever. Thankfully for Australian boxing fans, we got to see two great fighters in Australia. Rivalry, that's what we want. We want rivalry in this sport, and look, there's hatred between the two.
That was a cracker. Oh! It was a good exchange. It was a terrific exchange, and now Green beginning to work Mundine into the bottom. Mundine pulling his way through.
I knew eventually it had to happen.
That was a beautiful right hand from Mundine. Green fires back with vicious body blows.
He's a guy that's a recognised and established amateur, Olympian. Been boxing since I don't know when, and I am the next superstar of the sport.
The fight was good, although I thought it was one-sided. It was still like you were hoping that Denny could pull one out, and then you were hoping that Chock would keep up the good speed levels again and control it.
What a right hand from Mundine. And Mundine dancing away back handling.
And he didn't look sharp. He looked heavy. Maybe the occasion got to Denny. Anthony looked cruisy. He looked like he was having some fun. He thrives on that, and nothing bothered him that night. He was sticking his tongue out. He was being flamboyant, and he just thought he was unstoppable that night.
Danny Green misses. Oh, big right hand. Green says no, but that looked hard. Green fires back with both hands. Going to the body. Mundine responding, and Green going back at him.
I thought, man, this is our chance to shine. I'm not fighting for me. I'm fighting for my fans. I'm fighting for my people. I'm fighting for the minority. I'm fighting the system. I'm fighting against injustice. This is the night. All eyes are going to be glued to that TV. And I was born to entertain. When them lights and cameras are rolling, I know I could put on a show. I'm at home. I'm at peace. And believing in my preparation, believing in my game plan, that boy don't have it to beat me. As bad as they make out he is, he ain't got it to beat me.
They did show a lot of respect coming into the last round. They did hug, they did shake hands, just for respect. And I love that. I think it's great.
If someone's gonna open their arms to me, you know what I mean, I got a big heart, and I forgive a lot. But I think you're coming back to think of it. I was in a fight. I shouldn't have showed any kind of sign of weakness, and that won't happen again.
After 6 years, gentlemen, it's time to shake hands. Anthony Mundine is going to return to fight for a world title.
From the blue corner, Anthony Mundine!
Yes, he has silenced his critics.
Following his victory over Danny Green, Anthony Mundine was the undisputed king of the sport in Australia. That win set up a shot at claiming a second world title, again, the WBA super middleweight crown in March of 2007. The opponent was Victorian Sam Solomon. Solomon and the man had fought previously in 2001. Mundine victorious in a split decision, one that Solomon always found difficult to accept.
Sammy Solomon's like a boxing prostitute. When Manny Siaka came, he wants to go and jump in with Manny Siaka and help him try and beat me. Mikel Kessler came, he wants to go hang with Mikel Kessler and spar with him. When I was in Germany, he was in Savanacci's corner, out of his chair, rooting for fights. This hatred, this build-up, just infuriated me. So when the chance came to the second fight, I grabbed that with both hands and I said, man, I'm gonna beat your ass bad. When I caught him in that second round, they would have knocked out a Mack truck. I'm not a violent guy at all.
You know what I mean? But I had something inside me that's ready to kill.
You still get the feeling it's 1 month away.
And as soon as I heard him, if you watch the tape, I wanted to kill him. I wanted to kill him. I didn't want to knock him out. I didn't want to cut him up. I just wanted to kill him.
Mundine loads up again. Starfire shot. Mundine retains the World Championship. A dominant display. It's one of his best ever. He's done it again.
What a performance.
With his second world title secured, Mundine was looking to take his career to another level. This would all take a turn when in August of 2007, he began having trouble with his vision. Following a trip to New Zealand, he was hospitalised with a severe eye infection caused from cleaning a contact lens with his saliva. While the media were aware of the injury, they never really knew just how close Mundine came to ending his boxing career. At one stage, doctors suggesting he may lose his left eye. Following a variety of treatments and countless medical opinions, Mundine was told this was no longer about saving his career, but about saving his sight. Then, running out of hope, he was referred to Dr. Kathy McClellan.
How's your eye?
Yeah, it's getting there slowly.
Kathy came like an angel. You know, God sent her like an angel.
Pop your chin up. That's it.
She said to do this. It could be a rare bacteria. Take these drops, take this tablet. Then the Monday come. I had a look on the test. All clear.
It seemed from what had happened as if it was more than likely to be a bacterial infection. So I decided that we should change the drop to something that covered a lot of things that hadn't been used. And after that, not immediately, but it started to improve. So we didn't ever find out what it was.
It seemed to get worse and worse, and I was at a point where the doctors were telling me, you know, it's not about saving your sight anymore, it's about saving your eye. And, you know, at that particular point I really started to think that, you know, it was maybe some kind of hidden agenda.
After the injury scare in 2007, the following year, Mundine came close to being knocked out for the second time in his career. The opponent was a Japanese fighter, Crazy Kim, who surprised the man with his power.
I don't know what it is with these Japanese boys, man. They, you know, hit Crazy Kim, but he hit me with a sweet left hook.
I think it's consistent.
And man, to be honest, I was blacking out. And as I'm blacking out, I could feel myself like I'm falling. You know what I mean? So I'm falling, but bam, I hit the ground. And as soon as I hit the ground, I snap out of it. I'm awake, as can be. So I jump up. I'm still a little bit hazy, but I'm wide awake. You know what I mean? And as by the time the ref counted 8, I was clear.
15 seconds remaining, 10th and last round. It's no one's going down. It's going to be a unanimous decision of the man.
I ought to give that to my conditioning as well. You know, a lot of hard work. My condition, if I wasn't in condition for that fight, I definitely would have been knocked out.
Comprehensive victory for Anthony Mundine, despite being put on the canvas in round
3. With 2 world titles already to his name, Anthony the Man Mundine accepted a fight in May of 2009 for the opportunity to capture a 3rd world crown. This time, he would drop down a weight division and fight for the IBO middleweight title. The champion was Tasmanian-born Daniel Gill. With a record of 21 fights, 21 wins, the fight promised plenty, and the fans got just what they hoped for.
Everyone thought Daniel Gill was the man to beat Anthony Mundine. And he was the challenger that night and beat a champion. Usually Anthony fights for a vacant title. This time he was the challenger.
Unlike Anthony Mundine to be first in the ring ever.
That's true, I was the champion, and he needed to come out there and take that title off me.
I'm just willing to fight the best, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if they're champions or no champions, or we're fighting for a non-title or a title. I'm just willing to prove that I'm the best.
This is going to be a real good bout, I tell you. It's a thinking man's fight, this.
Gill surprises a lot. Mundine has been tagged with a big right hand.
I always know that he comes out, starts fast. So we was to and fro in the first round. I didn't get back to the corner, and I think my daddy said close round, but I think you lost a round. I don't like when I lose fights, but I don't even like losing rounds. That's how competitive I am.
Defensive position.
So in the second round, I jump out, I just come straight forward, bam, bam, with the two lefts, and I bam with the left hook.
Keeler's pumped. Keeler's hurt. Opening seconds of round 2.
You know, when I hit him with that left hook, bam, I hit him on the sweet spot, and that's all it takes.
I guess I got a little bit lazy and was a little bit off balance, and he hit me with a punch, and it was a good learning experience.
Daniel Gill fighting with an intense ferocity, an intensity that I haven't seen from him before.
Daniel Gill is very technically correct. He can punch all right. I like watching him. I like his skill.
Gill over the top, Mundine down low, and again they exchange.
That fight was just a hell of a fight. I was in control, and then he came back in the next couple of rounds. He was in control.
Right hand from Gill, who is on the front foot here.
And then I come back and I was in control.
He looked the hardest puncher, but he had tremendous timing. Mundine led some right.
Daniel Gill came back and he had his moments in the fight.
Gains an advantage. Nice uppercut. Nice little overhand right. And then the receipt again from Anthony Mundine. This has been a case of whatever you can do, I can do better.
And it's a great fight. I mean, I was ringside, and it was a hard, tough call, mate, and could have gone either way.
The walks forward into one of several Mundine right hands. Mundine fires back, Gill fires back, Gill fires back again. Unbelievable boxing.
It felt like it was an entertaining fight. We were back and forth the whole way, so it would have been a good fight for the crowd, and so I've been told it was a really good fight.
Oh, good punch from Gill.
I don't think Chock deserved to lose it.
Oh, Gill has been rocked.
I don't think Daniel deserved to lose it.
And just as we say that, good punch. He opens up and they go to war.
My management and my team said I have to knock him out to make sure that I win.
I told you at the start, you have to knock this guy out.
So I was thinking, I know I won the fight, but they could take it from me.
Firing away. Mundine winning this round accurate.
That's probably the fight of the Australian boxing in the sense.
What a performance.
Maybe.
36 of the toughest minutes you could ever imagine.
As arguably can be.
Daniel Gill and Anthony Mundine, we are proud of both of you. What a performance.
Later in 2009, Mundine had another surprise. He agreed to be the prize for the Australian version of the popular television program, The Contender.
Want to beat the man and want to be the man.
The winner of the series securing a $250,000 purse and the opportunity to step into the ring with the man.
May the best man win.
Just proves what kind of guy Anthony Mundine is. Anywhere in the world, you're not going to get Oscar De La Hoya part of a reality show. You're not going to get Mike Tyson and them guys to offer their services and them being a part of the show. That's just the type of guy Anthony Mundine is. He loves giving people opportunity.
Like Mundine, the winner was a former rugby league player. With just a handful of fights, Garth Wood was a surprise champion. He will face Mundine later this year.
I'd like to think it'd be the biggest fight in Australia come 2010. Come December, yeah, there's going to be fireworks.
Garth is a competitive prick, you know what I mean? He hate to lose, you know what I mean? And he'll do everything in his power to beat me. I know that.
So, a decade has passed of the boxing career of Anthony Mundine. In a sport that is known for its bust-ups, the man has managed to keep Team Mundine together. His father, Tony, remaining in his corner.
One thing I'm going to applaud Anthony Mundine is he's stuck with his team from day one. No one does it these days.
We're just a small little team. We get on well together, but I'm the captain of the ship. What I say goes, you know, so that's what it is.
The mastermind of the team is his manager and loyal friend, Coda Nasser.
He's the best manager we got in Australia, if not one of the best managers in the world. He just does his job, goes under the radar, and you can see by what he's doing for Anthony, he's done a wonderful, wonderful job. But again, we say Anthony's fight, from pro debut to this day, they've all been on pay-per-view. Which fighter has done that? You know what I mean? That just proves what great management he's got.
Despite his public profile, there is an intensely private side to Anthony Mundine. He prefers to keep his wife and children out of the bright lights. He wears the name of his first child, Jada, proudly on his chest.
I was his first child, and he just came up with having the tattoo near his heart because he loves me.
Oh, he's too quick. He's too quick. He's too quick. That's why they call him Anthony Mundine. Good try, bro. That's just my private life, you know what I mean? That's just me. I don't need to put my kids out there, you know. Because they're not the ones that are in the spotlight. They're not the one that's got to perform. I am, you know what I mean? So I don't want no pressure being on them, you know what I mean? Here we go, Mundine. They know I love them dearly. They're my heart, man, and I'll start crying if I start talking about them.
Since leaving rugby league in 2000, 10 years has passed in the professional boxing career of Anthony Mundine. Over the decade, he has divided and conquered many. He has forged his name as one of Australia's most extraordinary athletes. When it comes to sport, he is the man. He has big plans, and no doubt there are a few more surprises to come before his career is over.
I want to drop down to junior middleweight. I want to become the undisputed junior middleweight champion, because I feel that no junior middleweight can stand with me. I'll be a monster at that weight, and I know I can get down there because I've been as low as 1.5 kilos over it. Once I know I can make that weight mentally, look out, because here I come. I'm like a steam train.
I just can't believe it's 10 years since that first professional fight. Can't believe it.
A decade. It's gone so quick, and what I've achieved in such a short time is, it's pretty remarkable.
I think that most of the bile towards Anthony Mundine would come from non-boxing fans. I think those involved with boxing specifically or sport generally, that's long since gone and been replaced with respect.
Anthony Mundine, what a performance!
But he's proved a lot of those lookers wrong, and he'll still prove it to the day he retires.
He's the most beautiful son any mother would wish for, and I just thank God that I am his mother.
And now he's wearing the belt.
If you can tell me a better role model in this country than Anthony Mundine, well, I just don't know who he is.
Thanks to you, man. If you see me on the street or you see me out, listen, come on and say hey.
I imagine he'll one day I'll give up boxing and go back and play rugby league on his old legs and play for St George in Australia again. I mean, nothing would surprise me.
I've been fighting for 10 years now. I think I've got 5 years left. I've got 5 years left, and in them 5 years, I'm not just going to make you remember me. I want to make your kids remember me. I want to be the best ever.
Is champion of the world.